Welcome back to the Live Your Best Life podcast, where we explore the people, experiences, and philosophy shaping success and meaning in today's world. Today, Hunter Mateer, advisor here at Strategic Wealth Advisors Group, joins me to share how her background in sports shaped her discipline as well as her mindset, how she found her path into advising, and why she's so passionate about the work that she does. We also get an inside look at how she approaches client meetings and what truly sets her apart in building lasting relationships. Let's get into it. This is where better decisions start. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next episode of the Live Your Best Life podcast. Very excited for today's episode because we have Hunter Mateer, one of the financial advisors here at Strategic Wealth Advisors Group, and we're looking forward to having her talk a little bit about herself, her passion for the industry, why she got into this business, and how she helps clients out here at Strategic Wealth. So welcome to our episode, Hunter. How are you doing today?
Good. Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yes, excited to have you here, like I said. And I really want people to get to know who you are, not only at work, but also who you are outside of work. So one of the first places I wanted to start with is, how would you describe yourself outside of work?
I would probably say I'm kind of like the mom of the group. I have definitely been, since growing up, just always the one that is making sure everybody else is taken care of. I definitely think as I'm growing up, I am realizing that it's okay to do that for myself too. So it's kind of an interesting part of my life right now. I think I'm morphing into that, adult person and realizing, how I can help others and how I can help myself too. So I think I'm just overall a very caring person in and out of work, and personal life definitely more so, I think, a little bit, but I'm very protective of my family. So
Sure.
Yeah.
And I could second that because we were all out last Friday, and as we were all heading home from some drinks and some appetizers, Hunter was texting everyone in the group to make sure we all made it home safe.
Yep, even you.
Yes. So
yep.
Definitely the mom of the group for sure.
Yep.
When it comes to work itself, obviously you're in this industry for many years. Before we get into work, let's just talk a little bit more about personal life. So, grew up where, went to school where, stuff like that.
Yeah, I grew up in Ortonville, Michigan. I usually tell people I'm from Clarkston if they're not local, just because nobody usually knows what Ortonville is. If you do, you'll usually get Cook's Farm Dairy.
I'd say most people don't know.
Yeah, most people don't, so I accept that. It's very small. I went to Brandon High School, a very small high school, but then went to Michigan State for college. Very happy and proud about that, especially here surrounded by U of M fans and Ohio State fans. But, grew up, I would say small town, but definitely was ready to not be in a small town, as soon as I had the opportunity. Not that I didn't love it. I took, what I could from that, but I always knew I wanted to kind of move on to, bigger and better things and be able to show myself that I could do that. Because
I think it's pretty common, isn't it, from people who grew up in a small town?
I think so, yeah. I mean, honestly, a lot of people from my, hometown, a lot of people I went to high school with, it's a very fun town. There's a lot of, lakes, and it's very small, so everybody knows everybody. But I always knew I wanted to prove to myself that I could be bigger and, go beyond that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? That was just what I wanted for myself. I'm the first person in any generation of my family to go to college and get a degree and actually work towards, that part of my career. So I didn't even go to school specifically for finance. I went to school for marketing because I wanted to understand people, and I wanted to understand how people think and what they like and how do I get them to like certain things, I guess. But I think my life has just been a culmination of learning new tricks and trades and
And
working
you grew up,
towards.
you played sports.
Yep. I played softball my whole life. I was actually recruited by University of Kentucky, but I'd played softball my whole life. I figured out in high school I have something called vasovagal syndrome. And basically it's like when my adrenaline spikes, it can make me feel pretty lightheaded and I can faint pretty easily. It doesn't happen too much anymore now that I'm older, but that kind of hindered my decisions. So I decided to go more like beer league softball when I was in college. Yeah. But sports has been a very big part of my life, and I think it's shaped me as a person too. So I'm very thankful that I had that to grow up with too. And
I think we see more people or financial advisors in this industry that have that sports background, from talking to other advisors. I think it's pretty common in this industry. A lot of people have had a strong sports background.
Yeah, and I think it's almost like pivotal that you have, whether it be like a contact sport or, physical sport, even like something that's maybe not as physical, just any relation to a sports background is almost needed in this industry, because I think it's a tough industry to be in, especially when you're, handling so much important information for people, just purely that it means so much to people.
And a woman as well.
Correct. Yeah. And that's, I think, that's a whole other conversation when you get into the finance world, because, even some of our, sales trainings and things that we have, it's, very few women in this industry. And that's something that I've, always wanted to change, because I think, women have a superpower in this industry that, men, I think, I think they can tap into it, but I think women are a lot better at it. They're just more natural at it. But I think when it comes to like the sports mentality, you just have to understand like the physical and mental endurance of, not only dealing with your own things, but helping others through their things. And I think sports really helps people figure out that mental confidence.
I agree. Well, 2 exciting things this year. One, you became an aunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got a little niece.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with her. She's perfect.
How old now?
She is about 4.5 months. She'll be 5 months, obviously next month. But
just rolled over, you said?
Just rolled over. She is in the 98th percentile for height.
Very exciting.
We're not sure where she got the height from, but we're excited to see what she ends up at. So.
And then something that's happening later this year, you are engaged and getting married.
Yeah, getting married. That's a big year for weddings here, but mine's the end of the year, so it'll be a nice little holiday.
And we previously had your fiance on the Live Your Best Life podcast.
Yeah, he was so excited. He loves talking about nutrition, so it was awesome to see him get to dive into that.
Now we're going to have to compare both episodes at the household.
Oh, gosh. Trust me. He's going to take that one. He's going to take that one.
Well, if someone were to spend, let's say, 10 minutes with you, what would you hope they walked away with?
Oh, that's a good question. I hope that anybody that I come in contact with, I always think 2 things. I hope I can get them to truly see that I care, that it's not just a conversation, but 2, I hope I can make them smile or laugh. And I think that's very powerful in this world. I think people sometimes just don't think about that as, humans. We are all so focused on our own days and our own lives and what we have going on. And the easiest thing you can do is just be nice to somebody. So if I have 10 minutes, hopefully they get to see that I care. And even for that 10 minutes, I cared the most that I could, and hopefully make them smile or laugh during that 10 minutes. So
I think people that know you feel that same way. That's something that they will get from you. So I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
But what's something that our clients, if they were talking to you and they walked away, obviously you want them to smile and be happy, and you want to kind of have an impact on their day. But what's something that might surprise our clients? Something about you that might surprise them?
I think I think there's 2 things that really surprise people a lot is like my knowledge of sports. Like I know probably way too much about sports.
Absolutely.
And then Probably like music. Like a lot of people are very surprised. Like last week at our trivia experience that we had, it was a lot of, Motown music and 80s music and everything in between. And it was very cool to see, like, a lot of the clients were very surprised that I knew just about every song. So I think I have a lot of knowledge about things people don't think that I would just by looking at me.
Do you remember our cab ride into Kansas City or Lawrence? Even the cab guy had said something because you had answered several questions that me and Brandon didn't know.
Yeah, which it always feels good because then that's where, like, I remember the cab driver was like, "Oh, look at the girl in the car," and it's like, hey, you doubt me and I will show up. So I love getting to do that sometimes.
Well, going back to, like you said, you went into college for marketing. What kind of drew you into the financial industry?
Yeah, I think I have kind of an interesting background with that because growing up, I really watched a lot of financial stress, how that can impact a family. And very thankful. I love my family, love my parents. Unfortunately, they went through a divorce when I was in high school, and that was very tough. And I'm a very, I feel everything. So I think that plays into why I care so much. I feel for others as much as maybe they feel even more. And, growing up, you start to connect the dots. And not that, that was the pivotal reason, maybe my parents got divorced or whatever, but I know that is for a lot of people. It's a big stressor. And as I got older and decided to go to college, and that was a big decision because nobody else had, and we didn't have the money to go to college. So that was a big decision to make, knowing that I was going to have to take out student loans and, be able to, support myself through college. So making that decision, it wasn't until actually after I graduated from Michigan State. I worked at an IT firm. I did recruiting for an IT company for about a year out of college, and quickly realized that I was like, I need some help from a financial perspective, and I want to be better than, the generations before me. And I realized I had no idea what to do. So rather than, going to find somebody to help me, I just decided to start working in the finance industry and got all my licensing, went through everything that I needed to be able to help people the right way, and really just did it to be able to take that back to my family because, my dad, he's painted cars for 43 years now at the same place. And my mom, her work ethic is unmatchable. And so they instilled in me that work ethic, but they were always looked at as, maybe people that didn't make enough money to warrant advice or education. And I think that's one of my biggest qualms with the finance world is I think everybody deserves access to that information. It's up to us and people to actually act on it, right? But I always wanted to be that person that could actually give that education and make them want to make that change because it's important.
Yeah. And we have a very similar story growing up. My parents were very hard workers, but didn't make a whole lot of money. And I think we're really able to, people like ourselves or other advisors, not that someone who grew up in an affluent household can't be a really good advisor. But I think when you go through something like that, the strife that you go through as a child and growing up and seeing your parents struggle, right? It gives you a different look at life, and really, as an advisor, helps you become a better advisor because you're really trying to make sure that someone else doesn't go through that or could avoid some of the mishaps that go along the way so that it speeds up where they're trying to get to. But also on the connection side, because you're very good at connecting with people and getting to understand what they really want out of life, and people trust you. I see that all the time when they come in here. They really buy into you. So it's a special trait that you have, but that all comes back to because you care about them and you really want the best for them. When we talk about live your best life, that's what you're trying to do is help them figure out the vision for what their best life looks like and how can I help them accomplish that. So you do a really good job of that.
Thank you.
Now, was there ever a moment when you were a financial advisor where you really said, man, I'm really meant for this?
I think there's been a few moments. I know it's sometimes, we talk about it. I feel like I, often am meeting with people that maybe get emotional like I do. Yeah. And I look at that as a good thing. I'm not ever looking to make people cry by any means, but to me, that shows me that it's kind of that wall, right? And I call it kind of like the waterfall, right? Like people have something in their life that changed them or made them feel a certain way about maybe money or maybe their family or their future, whatever that is. And I think often, like I said, we're all moving through life so fast and we forget that we're all people too. And, we all have our own things going on. And even that day, it could be impacting what's going on. And I think so I don't know if there's been like a specific moment, but, just anytime I can meet with a client and see that they kind of realize like, oh, it's not only about money. It's what is the money doing? What's the purpose? And I think that's really when it hits me. And I remind myself like, sure, this industry can be tough, but like, that's why I do it. Like to be able to show people that they're not alone in their own mind about money or stressors or what they're feeling. So I don't know that there's a specific moment I can recall for that, but a few different moments that have culminated.
And you're able to really go, instead of surface deep, you're able to really dig down and ask the questions to get them to understand what the issues are or what the true outcome is going to be, or what their passion or what their goals really are. Because I think a lot of people come in and it's just like, yeah, I want to retire. I want to enjoy life and I want to be happy. And it's like, well, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And then helping them really break that down. And that's where a lot of times, that's where that emotion comes from. Well, one, they trust you. They trust that they could talk to you. Two, that you're going to listen. And three, that you're actually going to help them instead of just recommend a product or an investment, that you're truly there to help them accomplish those things.
Yeah. And I think, it's really cool to, be in a firm too that empowers that, because it's very rare in this industry to have, I love our team. I can't say it enough with, not just internally, the support, but the support that our clients get from not only me and, being able to know that when I'm talking with a client and getting that, maybe emotion or getting to the root of what's important to them, to know that, we have the team here that can then help me with that and help me actually deliver on those things. It's even more powerful because that's what allows me to take that time with each client and actually dig in and understand, it's not my money, right? It's not our money. We love helping families, but we love helping families do what they want to do, not what we think they should do.
And I think you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about culture. The culture, not only inside the office, I think is important, but it's the culture with our extended family, our client, our swag family. Yeah. That's just as important. And I think the two really blend very well.
Yeah. It's been awesome. The amount of outside of work things that we do with clients, but also even beyond those things, like, after some of our experiences, seeing some of the clients still hang around, like it's not a requirement that people have to be around us. And it's really cool that people choose to be around us. So it really shows the impact that we're making on our clients too.
We're able to do life with them.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of clients, what really defines a great client relationship, to you? Like how would you define that?
That's a good question. I think the main thing for me that I look for is just to qualify it as like a good client relationship is like, do I feel that I've reached that, purpose or really gotten to understand them and know them? Because I don't think that we can fully, to our capacity, help people if they aren't allowing us in to know those things. Because, we could do so much to help people, save for retirement or, earn more, protect it, or whatever we need to do. But if the client isn't opening up deeply about what matters, there's always maybe something that either on our side, on the client side, that they're wondering. And that's where I feel like the power of a client and firm relationship is just to know that they feel comfortable enough to, get undressed, quote unquote, right? Of we want to know the pain points and, what truly matters so that we can help protect against those things or, help truly be part of that plan. So I think that would be like a good client relationship.
What do you think clients really need from an advisor that they don't realize? So, because your typical client, probably the relationship with their advisor is they're taking care of my money, and I meet with them once a year, maybe 3 times a year, to go over our progress. But what do you think that client really needs from an advisor?
I mean, I look at it as I think people deserve almost like a CFO to their, CEO. I say that a lot because I think oftentimes nowadays the word advisor is kind of tossed around pretty loosely. And, there's good advisors, there's bad advisors out there. And I think most people need somebody that they know is thinking about the things that they're not. Mm-hmm. And we hear that a lot of, well, I haven't talked to my advisor about this, or they haven't talked about this. And that's, I think, where if people could feel that they didn't have to question whether or not they were being told about this opportunity or this opportunity. I mean, that's our job, right? Is to provide that education to people because we have that knowledge and the average client probably doesn't. And, maybe they have access to it, but they don't know where to look. And so I think from an advisor, it's not just about, oh, my investments are growing, it's, okay, what about the taxes that growth is going to create for your retirement? What about the taxes to your kids when they inherit that? And, if your advisor is not thinking about those things, I think they're, doing you a disservice.
Yeah, we talk about the 5-world approach, the income plan, investment plan, tax plan, healthcare plan, and estate plan. But then I would say there's almost that 6th one. And that 6th one is your goals, your dreams, your vision.
Yeah.
And that's just as important in helping them realize that, which we've talked about.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big point I see, with a lot of people that I meet with is they don't know what the money is doing for them, right? Sure, it's growing, but I don't remember who said it, but it's like completely unnecessary to, risk what you don't need to risk to earn what you don't need to earn kind of deal. And
Warren Buffett.
I completely botched that quote. I know that, but
you did, but that's all right.
Okay. I knew it, and nice prefaced it, so I knew I was going to botch the quote. But I mean, when you think about that, right? Like people, again, it's going back to, they need to be educated as to, you hear in even social medias and anything nowadays is talking about, growth, and you could earn this much in a week by day trading and all these different things. It's like, okay, but do we need that? Like, do we need to be doing that? Because what if the opposite happens? Like, have you thought about what will you do if it doesn't work out?
Do you find more people don't truly understand like what they actually have or what they actually need? Because a lot of people come in thinking, I've got to earn 10%, but they also don't realize when the difference between working and retirement. Like those are 2 different things, because your goals and your idea of money should completely change, and how you think about your money should change between your working career and your retirement career.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the hardest shift for people, and obviously I haven't personally had to make that shift, so it's even something that I seek to understand from people too, because, it's one thing to be able to tell somebody, oh yeah, when you retire, you're going to be unemployed, right? It's by choice, but how are you going to make your money? It's, people they don't like to think about that because they try to push, rightfully so. Let's not think about it till we get there. We'll figure it out when we get there. But
just let it grow, let it grow.
Right, exactly. And I think this is where I kind of have like the slight maybe superpower as the advisor, is just like being able to look at it in the sense of that's almost a culmination of just what we've seen has worked over the last few decades. And it has worked. But I mean, I think even more now, there needs to be a little extra attention to how it's going to work, because things are changing. It's not just, saving the 401k plan and the retirement will be okay. It's, taxes are probably going to rise in the future. So like looking for those things. And it's just the biggest shift mentally, I think, for people to make. And that's what I love that, being an advisor is we want to take that stress on for people,
sure.
Right? Being able to just give somebody a plan that here, this is how we're going to get you through that. And, seeing the relief in people's face of, oh my gosh.
And it goes from saving to spending
right.
in retirement. And that's where you give them a lot of purpose. Like, these are what these investments are for. This is for income. This is for safety. This is for growth. So you're giving them that purpose.
Right.
Well, walk me through a typical meeting. So someone who is listening to today's podcast is sitting there going, man, this sounds great. Hunter sounds like she's a great person. But, man, I don't know. I don't want to take the time. I'm scared to come in, or, I've been pushing this off. I'm a procrastinator. What can they expect if they come in to meet with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that first meeting, it's just a conversation. I think it's a very powerful conversation, and we really can get out of it whatever that client brings to that meeting, right? And the first step is the hardest, right? Like making that first call, even just asking for help. I think that's something people are scared to do. And I 100% know that in that first meeting, my first goal is to always just make people feel comfortable, make them feel seen, feel heard. We talk mainly about the client, right? I want them to be able to ask questions, but really just understanding what's the purpose, right? We usually don't even start talking about money or what they have in their portfolio until the very end. If, things are going well, sure, but I like, we don't focus on, what do you have? We want to focus on, can we help you as a client, and can we help you live your best life? Because I can't care more about you living your best life than you do for yourself. So we really just kind of use that first meeting to see, are we a good fit? And if we're not, we're always happy to part as friends, but usually there's some value that we can add, and really love that first conversation.
What would determine if you had a second meeting with them? So first off, I'm guessing you're not trying to pick them up as a client on the first meeting.
No, definitely not. That first conversation, purely just to see, do we want to have a second meeting? Like I mentioned before, our team's really great, and I like to protect their time too, that we want to make sure, the client is a good fit for our team, but also that we can maybe add value to them, right? Second meeting really is where we'll dive in and show the value that we can add. The second meeting is where, sure, we've gone through exactly what I can do. Second meeting is now where we show you what we can do and how it's going to work and how it's going to impact your plan and how it's going to benefit you in your retirement. So at the second meeting is where we would figure out, are we a good fit? Can we add value? Because it needs to make sense from the client side too, right? Nobody does anything that they don't want to do. So it has to make sense on both sides. And I think that's a very powerful thing here, is we're very protective of our, client culture as well. We want to make sure that our clients care just as much as we do. So that second meeting is really where we decide whether or not we're a good fit. First meeting is just conversation.
So is that second meeting where a prospect comes in, is that where they really start to feel the clarity and the confidence and really the relief?
Yeah, that's the goal, right? I mean, there's definitely situations where, we have to have hard conversations with people and say, hey, we're going to have to, make some changes to really benefit. And, maybe that's not the value somebody's looking for necessarily, but I think that second meeting is really where their eyes open, right? Whether good or bad. And I think mainly good to be able to show, hey, here's how we've figured out how to help you get from here to where you're looking to get to. And then that's usually where, clients are feeling a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable, and they truly see the work that we're able to do for them. And I think it's usually the first time people have really even seen a lot of that, from the tax planning perspective. Most people haven't even looked at, what kind of benefit it can provide. So I definitely think that second meeting is where people get like a lot of clarity and see the possibilities for the future.
Sure. And I think a lot of times, if I'm sitting in a meeting with someone and we're discussing anything in life, I want someone to be more bold and not really tell me what I want to hear, but tell me what I need to hear. And when you said that usually we could help most people out, I think that's true, right? Probably 95% of people that we have in that second meeting, we could show them how we could add value, put them in a better position, save money on taxes, grow their portfolio, whatever, leave more of a legacy to their beneficiaries. But the tough conversations are the ones that are hard to have with people, because it's not like we're just trying to bring people in who have a lot of money. Of course, that's great, but we're really trying to help them live their best life. And I love working with people, I know you do as well, the people that might not be on that track, or they think they're on that track, and we have to have that hard conversation, because I know a lot of advisors would just pick them up anyways, but you have the confidence and you also are looking out for their best interest to say, hey, listen, I know this is what you want, or I know this is when you want to retire. We have to make some changes. And that's a hard conversation to have that a lot of people are not bold enough to have.
Yeah. And I think that's a culmination of, you being able to empower us all here to have that mindset, right? Because I think tying it back to kind of how I grew up, right? When you're looking at somebody's plan, or, I can see the value, but I can't, it goes back to people don't do what they don't want to do. And they need to see the value. And that's where I think it is a powerful thing to be able to tell somebody, hey, you're not on that track that you thought you were. But at the end of the day, I think most people, even if it hurts in the moment, right? Maybe it's salt on the wound, but like it's gonna add value, even if I'm the one that they were not the right fit, we are not the right, client relationship maybe, but I'm sure even in those situations, that person left with value, because they at least, maybe they went back to their current advisor and they went and said, hey, I'm not on this right track, but at least they did something about it. At least somebody finally told them, look, now you're not in, the failure mode, but if you don't change it, you're going to be. And hopefully that hits people at home, and they'll actually go make the change.
Which, and I know everyone obviously is entitled to do whatever they want to do, especially if they have a relationship with an advisor. But I always say that advisor should be giving you all the value day one. If they are not talking about tax planning and they don't talk about that to 5 to 10 years later, it's like, wait a minute. That person could have been talking to you about this 5-10 years ago, and they're not. And you're going back, but whatever. There's investment people and there's advisors. But someone sitting here right now listening, and they're like, man, Hunter sounds great, but they're wondering like what's separate, and hopefully they could hear it, because I'm listening to this and I could tell why you are different than other advisors or other investment people, as we like to say. But what would you tell them, or what would you say to them, why you are different than the typical investment person or advisor out there?
I mean, I know all advisors, they do care, but I think that's what truly sets me apart, is just I deeply, deeply care about each and every person I talk to. I hear it a lot. Somebody will ask me, they'll say this name, and I'll be like, oh yeah. And like, it'll be somebody I met with maybe 3-4 years ago. And I could tell you the entire conversation that I had with that person and what was important to them, what vacation they took. And so I take the time to remember those details, because nobody remembers what you did for them. People remember how you made them feel. And I think if like I said, even if I'm not somebody, if we're not the right fit for, somebody from a client perspective, if they could sit down and, at least maybe they remember how I made them feel even from 3-4 years ago, I think that's the bigger impact for me, maybe my superpower, because when I do have, that relationship and make that connection, I mean, hopefully they see that that's the long term, right? But that's a client for life, right? That's my goal every time is I don't want to just be your advisor. I want to be your trusted partner throughout the financial.
This is a long-term partnership.
Yeah.
Because everything changes.
Yeah.
Stock market changes, tax law changes, estate planning changes.
Everything. And you need to know that you have somebody behind your back that cares.
Everything in their life is going to change.
Everything.
Eventually, one of us are going to pass away, or get sick, or change what our goals are, and you've got to be there to adjust that plan for that.
Yeah.
And I hear this a lot when people walk out of a meeting with you, and I could see that in their face. I could see them thinking like, this was different. This wasn't anything like I've sat in before with an advisor. To you, what makes that different? And I think you've kind of just said that, just a few seconds ago, because I'm sure you hear that as well. Yeah,
I think, it goes back, I think I've learned a lot from my family. And, one thing that I've definitely learned from both my parents is I think I can talk to just about anybody. I genuinely care. And I know you've said it, Bud said it a couple of times, I know a lot about everything. And there's some things that I know really well, but I think that's kind of almost my superpower is anything that people are interested in. I usually know something about it to be able to kind of geek out with them about it. Right. And I think that's really powerful. It's, find what others enjoy talking about.
Yeah, not what you enjoy.
Not what I enjoy talking about. And I know I've got the gift of gab. I can talk to just about anybody and I could talk for a long time, but that's, I think, in those meetings, why they leave with that, oh my gosh, that was different, is they're the ones talking, right? They're the ones telling me everything about their life.
I think that's the important thing, because otherwise we don't get to know them on a personal level.
Yeah.
And I know everyone always remembers you, when they leave, but there is one thing that they can't seem to remember.
Cannot.
Is that your name? For whatever reason.
For whatever reason. Yeah. Even some people that I know they know my name.
Yeah.
And, I've been called Heather. I've been called Gunther. I've been called many, many names, but it's funny. Yes, my name is Hunter. Fun fact, my dad did hunt, but that wasn't the reason I'm named Hunter. I think it was in the 80s, but there was a soap opera, The Bold and the Beautiful. And one of the actresses' names is Hunter Tylo.
Okay.
And my mom, that was one of her favorite soap operas back when she was in high school. And she, I guess, knew from the day she watched that show, she was like, my firstborn daughter is going to be named Hunter. And I don't think she realized the things it might do to a woman or a young girl being named Hunter. But I think that, it made me who I am today. I grew up, getting some jokes, and I played softball, and that's a running joke back when I played t-ball. You have to sign the papers and sign up for the recreation leagues. My mom would do that every year. I started when I was 4 years old, and I showed up for the first 2-3 years. Every time I would show up, and they'd put me on a little boys team, and my mom would circle girl in big black. And
that's
I just laugh at it now, because some people I know, and it's, maybe they weren't paying attention close enough to remember, but most of the time people are doing it with, a light heart. So,
well, I know there's plenty of people that you've helped out, but is there one that stands out where you've had a transformation in their life or in their retirement, or maybe help them get to retirement earlier than they were expected to or they wanted to?
A specific person.
Yeah, we don't need to name names.
Yeah, I was going to say, just a specific case.
Here today, just wow.
Yeah, honestly,
we do it on almost on a weekly basis, I would say here. Yeah. because we do, whether it's helping people retire earlier, helping them take, we have a client right now that's in Jamaica with her kids and her grandkids. And, she didn't really think that she could do that.
Right.
Not that she didn't save very well. She's done a great job of saving, but, it's one of the things she wasn't thinking, like instead of maybe just giving money to the kids and then realizing that, hey, I could have a bigger impact if I take the kids and the grandkids on vacation.
Yeah.
How cool would that be? So it's getting them to think outside of the box.
Right.
And it's one of the things that she always tells us. She's like, I'm so grateful that by talking to you, I'm able to do this because I'm going to have this impact, not just on my kids, but my grandkids. So
yeah,
those are the kind of transformations I'm looking for.
Yes. I think, that's why I guess I paused for a second because I was like, wow, I could probably think of a couple. I think there's, even just over the last couple of weeks, like being able to, show some people that, hey, you kind of were planning for, like all this money was planning for income, and actually being able to show them that actually you don't need it. Like you guys can control a little bit more of that money, and actually able to show them that, one of them could retire 2 years earlier than they actually were planning to because they just didn't think that they could. It's so powerful to like see the stress kind of lower in people, like even in the middle of a conversation, just go from like almost the stress of just knowing they had to have that conversation about something and then to see that relief. And, when I get the call from a client that's like, hey, you know what? I'm actually going to retire. Yeah. And, when you ask them, you're like, are you sure? Like, you're going to do it. And they're so excited. And that's what makes this job worth it, because we're making an impact on people. We're
making a difference.
And people are changing me too, right? Like, I think that's so powerful that my career is also making me a better person, because I'm getting to see that other people have, maybe different relationships with money than I do personally or professionally. And I think, it's really cool to be able to grow alongside the clients like that too.
I always say this is probably the most rewarding business that I can think of, and not financially for us.
Right.
I mean, of course, we do well, but it's rewarding on the inside to see the impact that we actually do have on people.
100%. And that's, I think, like, we go back to like, there's good advisors, there's investment advisors, whatever. I think the people that get into the financial world that are, focused on making money, like you got to focus on who you're impacting, who you're helping, what do you truly want to do? Because, I would not want to be in an industry where it was always an external factor, right? Like I do it because I genuinely love getting to see like the smile on clients' faces and knowing that that person trusts us and me and our team.
That's awesome. What do you think one of the mistakes or one of the biggest mistakes clients actually make heading into retirement? So we're going to talk about more heading into retirement today.
I think, heading into retirement, I think it's really just like not understanding taxes, and then not understanding like how they're going to create their income in retirement.
Does that come back to like purpose, or?
I think it all roots from purpose, right? Because you can always say, like, I hear it all the time, oh, well, we're just going to, pull this money, the 4%, right? As long as I can pull out 4% every year from my accounts, it's sure. But what happens when taxes also go up maybe 4% or maybe more? Maybe it's 1%.
Sequence of returns risk.
Right. Sequence of returns risk. The amount of people that don't really understand that. And that's why, we educate people. Like you need to understand what it is for them to understand why it should be paid attention to, right? Because if you say sequence of returns risks,
most people don't know.
Most people don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. So that's our job, is to educate people on the risks of that. And
I think you can't make an educated decision if you don't know the pros and cons.
Exactly.
There's the pros and cons. Now we can make an educated decision together.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. What does success look like for our clients and for you as well?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here listening, and I'm going, man, this sounds great. I want to come in, I want to talk to them. But for them, what does success look like? For people that you're working with now, what does success look like for them? And then also for you and Aaron, I know you're getting married, but what does success look like for you guys?
Yeah, I think success looks different for everybody, and that's very powerful and beautiful. I think for like an overarching thing for most clients here, success, just having a plan and knowing that that plan has a purpose, knowing that that plan is aligning with your goals, your purpose. So I think the successful retirement, that's what we want to figure out for each person when we sit down is the successful retirement the taking our family to Jamaica and doing it that way? Or is a successful retirement, being able to snowbird and go down to Florida? Like, I want to know what that successful retirement looks like. So I think overarching with that is just having a plan in place. And like, I don't want our clients to be thinking about finances in retirement. If you're living your best life, you should not be worried about where's my money coming from, what money is creating my income, what money is creating my long-term growth, right? Like that's why we have advisors. That's why we have a job.
That's why we do what we do, yeah.
So I think that's the success, right? Is just the trust and confidence and clarity to like truly know you're taken care of. So I think that's overarching. And for me, I don't think it's any different. Me and Aaron, right now we live a pretty simple life in the sense of it's just us and our dog. And I think in the future, I look at success as just being happy, right? I don't look at it as any monetary factor. I don't look at it as, I have to necessarily be this one day or do this one day. I want to be able to move through life, and I want to be able to say yes. That's all I want in the future. That's what success will look like for me and Aaron, is if my kids want to do something. Now, I'm not going to tell them yes to everything.
I was going to say.
Not saying yes to everything. I want to have the opportunity to say yes, right? If my kids want to go on a spring break trip or something and they want to go somewhere specific, like I want to have the ability to say yes and not have to say, well, we don't have the money, or we didn't plan for that, or we didn't do this. And I can control that, right? That's what I think success for me in the future, and for Aaron too. We talk about it a lot. Money doesn't make you. Money doesn't make who you are. Money doesn't make you happy. It can help, for sure.
It enhance and allow you to do some of those things.
Exactly. But as long as we have the ability to say yes and do the things that we truly want to do, that's what looks like success to me.
Well, I've got we kind of like a lightning round, so quick answers.
All right.
But
I'll do my best.
Let's try this. If your personality had a warning label, what would it say?
Probably gift of gab.
Gift of gab.
I would say that.
I would say so. Enzo, what do you think?
Yeah, sounds about right.
What's a hill you would absolutely die on?
A hill?
That you would absolutely die on. So maybe it's something that...
Like a metaphoric hill?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, I could probably pick a hill too, but...
Could be something like, if someone did this, that's it. I couldn't continue the relationship. Or it could be on a positive note too, whatever. But
oh, okay. Yeah, I think it'd be a big thing for me is like I have a hard time like relating to people that don't care as much as me. And it's hard to like maybe care to my level, but
sure.
That's probably something like
so if someone's more superficial, then you're like,
yeah,
right,
that's the better word for it, right? Okay. Is superficial.
All right. What's something you're embarrassingly bad at?
That's gonna sound so cocky. I don't know what I'm like embarrassingly bad at.
So I've seen you play pickleball. You're pretty good at pickleball. Obviously, you played sports. You're pretty good at that. Our clients had a chance to see you dance the other day.
Yeah. Hey, they said I did good.
You did good. So that's why I said it's not embarrassingly bad at that.
I don't know that.
I'd have to probably ask Aaron that.
You'd probably, for sure. He'd probably say like, I'm like prone to like injury.
Okay.
And it's not like it's not sports. It's not that. It's just like stupid things. Like I cut myself with a plastic knife one time. And so Aaron makes a joke, like I'm not allowed to use any of the kitchen knives anymore. So probably that. Maybe that's what he would say.
Yeah. All right.
I'm good at cooking, but I'm not allowed to touch the knives.
All right. Leave it up to Aaron then.
Yeah.
If we looked at your Amazon history, what would surprise people most?
Oh, probably the amount of like home gardening and tools that we've ordered from Amazon. We're overhauling our yard right now.
All right.
Trying to, at least.
What motivates you more, fear or failure?
Ooh, failure for sure. I don't ever want to fail. Ever.
I could see that you're competitive
Yeah.
too. What's one thing you wish more clients understood about you?
I don't know. I think today's probably gotten into a lot of that, but probably Michigan State. Everybody here at the office talks a lot about U of M, Ohio State.
We'll say Ohio
Got to
State.
get my Go Green in there somehow.
So, relaxing beach or chaotic adventure for vacation?
In my current state, relaxing.
All right.
I'm very excited for like the honeymoon and
As I say,
just have an
especially since
opportunity to
you're
relax.
dealing with a wedding right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We just passed, as of yesterday, it was 7 months to the wedding. So now it's starting a whole nother round of things I have to do. So
How about early bird or revenge bedtime procrastinator?
oh, I'm definitely the revenge bedtime procrastinator. I'm awful about that. I live with a nutritionist, and sleep, we talk about it all the time. Sleep is like one of the most important things, and we just don't do it.
And you miss it.
There's so many thoughts going on in my mind that nighttime's usually when I have an opportunity to like dig into it. So guilty of that.
Well, you were talking about music earlier. What would be your life theme song if your life had a theme song?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I guarantee you asked me this question other times and it would probably change.
Yeah.
Right now, I would say Take It Easy by the Eagles.
Take it easy.
Yeah, that song, I've been like singing it to myself because like we talked about it a lot today. It's, kind of ties into it even, but just like take it easy, like life, like don't take it so seriously, right? Like
Relax and enjoy the ride.
yeah, you only get one life.
Yeah.
And I've spent a lot of it stressing and overthinking and thinking about every possible outcome and every possible scenario. And I have a tattoo on my body. It says on my back, it says live in the moment. And I need to remind myself that all the time.
Relax
So
and live in a moment.
I think take it easy.
This will pass.
Yes.
All
This
right.
too shall pass.
So if you weren't a financial advisor, what's something else you would like to do? Money wasn't an option. It didn't matter. You didn't have to worry about any stress. You could just go do something.
Yeah. Easy. It's going to be what I do in the future. Like that's like my ultimate plan to like do aside from, being an advisor too, but anything with dogs. It's like a passion of mine. I was bit in the face by a chow dog when I was 4.5 years old. So it was like just under my eye. And, people always ask me like, oh my gosh, why would you ever want to work with dogs again? And I went home to 2 Rottweilers when I was 4.5, after getting bit in the face. And my initial reaction was, is the blood going to come out of my shirt? Like I was really concerned about my Children's Place shirt that I was wearing. So that's always been a goal of mine in the future. I want to open a facility where I can train service dogs for, maybe like the blind or maybe people with disabilities, but more so I'd love to train like therapy dogs for like veterans,
That'd be cool.
ESA dogs even, because I know a lot of people look at like service dogs, but emotional support animals are really important too for people. So that's like the ultimate goal is to just have a big barn, training dogs.
Is
and
Aaron
making an
agreeing
impact.
with this as well?
Oh my God, if we could do that right now, he
be
would.
okay.
He would do that. We're probably a little crazy about dogs, but I mean,
You guys got the yard for it.
we do. That was the big thing for us was making
I
sure
don't
we
know if
had
the
a
neighbors
yard.
would like it, but yeah, you would have the yard for it.
Yeah.
How
for
about your go-to movie?
sure. Ooh, Tenet by Christopher Nolan. Yeah, Not many people have seen it, but it's phenomenal.
I've seen it. We've actually talked about
Yeah.
it. So what's one impulsive thing that you've done that you might be like, wow, I can't believe I've done that?
I think it's honestly the impulsive things is probably like even like trivia experience, like the trivia experience last week. Like I just sometimes don't think about those things. I like to make a fool of myself sometimes, but afterwards, like I'll sit back and be like, I can't believe I was actually up in front of like all of our clients. And then you like think about it, you're like, wait a minute, hopefully one of our clients didn't think like, oh, she's kind of crazy.
No, I had a lot of comments about that, and they were all good comments, how
Thank
they love
goodness.
our team. And I came back to, comments that night as well as comments via email and phone call. So it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
But we always end with, this is the Live Your Best Life podcast. So what does live your best life mean to you?
Yeah. Truly, I think that live your best life, it goes back to just like being happy, right? Like I want to be able to do the things that makes me happy. I want to be able to make an impact on other people. I'm sure that live your best life will continue to evolve for me as I progress through my life. But truly living my best life just means that each and every day I wake up, it's a good day, right? We're very blessed to be able to have each and every day, and let's go make the best of it as best as we can that day, right? I think we all look forward to the future, sure, but we also need to make what we can of right now. And so that's just live my best life, is every single day focus on how can I make today the best day possible.
I love it. What would you say, any parting words for people listening out there?
Give us a call or call somebody, right? The first step is the absolute hardest to do. And I promise you we'll make it, very nice, very calm, very comfortable. But that would be the biggest piece of advice, is if you're feeling like any of this hit home, or maybe it triggered something in you that, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I felt that way, make the call, right? The biggest thing we hear is I should have done this, or I should have started earlier. You have the opportunity and we can't make you call. So
we talk about
pick up the
choices,
phone.
right?
Yeah.
You have a choice. We had a choice to listen to this podcast. You had a choice to wake up this morning or hit snooze. You had a choice to eat breakfast or not. You had a choice to wear the clothes you're wearing today. You had a choice to get married, have kids, work at your job. And you had a choice to save for retirement or not, right? We make choices, probably hundreds of choices every day.
Yeah.
And make every day the choice that's going to benefit you, or that you're going to get the most out of life. And if you're sitting there and you're concerned, or you're wondering whether you have the right team to help you live out your vision, if you are thinking maybe I should be talking about tax planning or investment planning or anything that you've heard along the way, through any of our podcasts, that would be the reason why to give us a call. Make the choice to simply have a conversation with Hunter, and she would love to talk with you. She'll put you at ease, and she'll get a chance to get to know you. Once she knows what your vision is, then she'll be able to figure out if the current plan that you have is going to accomplish that vision. And if not, then she's going to be able to show you by making a few tweaks or changes, or add tax planning in, how that will allow you to accomplish those goals and those dreams. So we're very thankful to have you as part of our SWAG team. I know our client family loves you. We love you here. And thank you for being on today's podcast. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you did as well.
Very much so. Thanks for having me.
And for all those listening, thank you for tuning in today. We can't wait. Hopefully you will be on listening to our next podcast, and we appreciate you tuning in. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. If this episode sparked something in you or made you realize it's time to stop guessing and start planning, we'd love to meet with you. No matter where you are, no matter when you start, you deserve to live your best life. We'd love for you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends and your family. Remember, living your best life isn't a destination, it's a decision. And it's a decision that you get to choose. Until next time, stay well, stay informed, and keep living boldly.
Investment advisory services offered through Strategic Wealth Advisors Group, Incorporated, a Securities and Exchange Commission registered investment advisor. Content contained herein is for informational purpose only and is not intended and should not be construed as personalized investment advice or an offer for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided may be obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness.